welcome back to the Toffee Blues YouTube channel, your source for all things Everton. My name is Thomas, back on the channel today with another opposition view. After all the chaos that's happened this week, we have still got games of football to play. We are coming up against one of the ex-Super League sides now this weekend. We are playing Arsenal. I'm sure we're going to get into it. It's basically impossible to not talk about football at the moment, but I'm joined by Lee and Craig from the same old Arsenal today. We're going to be previewing the match, so thank you lads for coming on, and we'll just jump straight into it. So just to start off, obviously Arsenal are in ninth, one place below Everton. 3 points now, and it seems like Arsenal have struggled this season, and Everton have had a good season, but now we found ourselves very close. And I think if you win this game, you do go above us. So, what have you lads made of your season so far?
Well, it's not been good enough, has it? Really, for Arsenal? The standards that we set ourselves and the standards where we should be, where we've been a consistent top four club for so long now. We're kind of used to getting that top four trophy, if you like. This season's been awful. It's not been good enough. But with everything that's been going on, I'm not trying to use it as an excuse. I've backed Arteta all season, and I'll continue to back him till the end of the season. And what I'll do is I'll let him have a transfer window. And if he's backed by the board and he's backed by the club and he gets the players in that he wants, then I'll give him another season. But he's under pressure from day one, straight from day one for next season. Yeah, this season for Arsenal's been a bit of a shambles. I can't wait till it's over. It's one of those seasons that you just want to kind of cancel from your memory, cancel from statistical. Do you know what I mean? Just forget it's happened. The only way we have any bit of a good season is if we win the Europa League. Winning the Europa League will be fantastic. It'll get us back into the Champions League. But when I sit back and think, do I want this team in the Champions League? I'm not too sure.
Lee, what have you made of your season so far? I think everyone's kind of in agreement. It has been a disappointing one for you.
Yeah, it's been a disappointing one for us, considering we're an elite club. You know what I mean? Like one of the big six. You know what I mean? It's been a big disappointment. So no, it's just not. The league form's been awful. I agree with what Craig said. It's just a season you want to forget. No fans has been difficult. Watching the games has been difficult, and also the performance has just been so erratic. And I'll be honest with you, Arsenal could win this game 3 or 4-0, and they can lose it 3 or 4-0. That is exactly how it is at the moment. You just don't know what you're going to get with Everton. I think I thought Everton were fantastic at the beginning of the season. I just think that maybe the games have caught up on them a little bit, so I think injuries have took their toll. But I've just been on Sky Sports, and I think you've got Calvert-Lewin back in the squad now. That's great.
Yeah.
Play against Spurs, he's not about, but he's about for us. But and they've got a couple of players back in the squad today, so that'd be interesting to see how it goes there. But I was talking to Rose, who's like Everton supporter, the other day. Is it 1996 or something since Everton won at the Highbury or the Emirates? You know what I mean?
I'm not sure about that one. No.
It's unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. when she said. So you're due one, but hopefully not for a few more years yet. So you got the upper hand at Goodison Park. So hopefully home advantage will prevail. But our home form, by the way, is shocking. It is absolutely shocking. So. Anything can happen in this game, to be fair.
Yeah, absolutely. And luckily for us, our away form's been brilliant all season, and it's our home form where we've struggled as well. So I think that works for us as well. And you mentioned there, just Calvert-Lewin's back. We've also got a couple of key players back, like Yerry Mina and Andre Gomez. So that's quite significant. And I'm not too sure on your injury news, but I saw rumours about Aubameyang and Lacazette. Are they potentially both out for this match?
No, they're both out. Yeah. Both out.
So how significant is that going to be, do you think, playing into what's going to happen?
Well, it's massively significant because we've got no one. We have no attacking threat. I don't think you're going to have to worry about. You're not going to have to worry about our attacks too much. People are screaming for Balogun to start this game, but I can't see it happening. What I want to see happen is I want to see Martinelli through the middle. Saka and Pepe on both wings, and we'll see what happens. But we'll miss Lacazette. I like Lacazette. In the last few games, he's kind of come into his own. He's our top goal scorer. I think a lot of the fans give him a bit of a raw deal. He works very hard for the team. Always running, always pressing. His off the ball stuff is brilliant. He's better at that than Aubameyang. You know, Aubameyang is an elite player. He's a world class finisher. But Lacazette for me is the better, is the better engine to have in the team, and we've seen that the last couple of games against Sheffield United, in the Europa League games. Had a bit of a shocker against Fulham, but we won't talk about that one too much. So for me, without those two, I think we'll lack a cutting edge up front. But then saying that, when you say those three names, Saka, Martinelli, Pepe, they might make me eat humble pie, and I hope they do.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Saka's a player that I'm definitely concerned about coming up against. I think he's probably been your standout this season, and there's other players like Emile Smith-Rowe. So who would you say is probably the main threat now going into this game with those two out, and maybe who's somewhere we could take advantage of? I mean, a lot has been said. I think about your defence this season. At times you show defensively, and maybe that without your offensive players you might struggle. But who's maybe been your well, for both of you, you stand out, and then maybe your weakest player this season that we could take advantage of?
Well, I think that obviously Saka's been a standout for us, and actually since Christmas, Smith-Rowe coming into the team has been a big plus for us as well. Arsenal Football Club at this moment in time are relying on two teenagers and a 20-year-old, because Martinelli now is going to have to step up in those games there. Otherwise, we're going to go with Eddie. Eddie's not good enough, so we're going to have to give it to Martinelli to see what he can do. And I think he's dangerous enough to be able to do it. Probably for this game anyway. Maybe like come the Europa League, it could be Aubameyang, but Saka's definitely been the standout for us. The weakest one, you can pick anyone from the back at times, whether it be Bellerin, Holding, David Luiz. I think he's had probably his best season for Arsenal, if I'll be honest. But Gabriel has done well, but always there's a mistake in him, Leno, there's a mistake in him as well. They've all done fairly well at times. Just like the season, they're inconsistent. You don't really know what you're going to get. Holding, by the way, has played really well in the last couple of games, but before he came in, he was shocking. So Calvert-Lewin gets on him, and it could be, a field day for him, So I think someone like Calvert-Lewin is the sort of player that will cause us all sorts of problems. He's very, very good in the air, can run the channels as well, very, very pacey. And I tell you what, if you've got a player that ain't scored for a while, put some money on him, because that normally happens when you're playing against the Arsenal. Yeah,
definitely. I think as an Everton fan, we know about that as well. I think we've seen strikers have absolute field days against us, and I think it is lucky that we have him back. But Craig, obviously, we spoke about Calvert-Lewin there. Is there anyone else you're quite concerned about coming up against, who you think can cause you a threat from our side at least?
Well, I like Andre Gomez. I've always liked Andre Gomez. If he gets on the ball and dictates the play for Everton, he's going to cause problems. I like Andre Gomez, a player I would have liked to see at Arsenal. To be honest, I like the way he plays football, very simplistic. And yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, without sounding disrespectful to the rest of them, it's all on Calvert-Lewin, isn't it? He's a fantastic player. He would be my pick to lead England in the Euros. Calvert-Lewin, I think I rate him that much. How long more you can hold on to him for, is another matter. I think he'll be if he keeps scoring goals the way he is, he'll be off to a Super League club in the next year or so, I would imagine. Look, Everton are a threat to anyone at the moment. Especially the way the league is, anyone can beat anyone. I mean, don't like Lee said, don't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Arsenal come along and win 3 or 4-0. But then on the flip side of that, I wouldn't either be surprised if we lost 3 or 4-0. So it's a strange one. It's a strange fixture. One that historically that we get the upper hand. We get the upper hand in, but this season, James, it's just you just don't know. You just don't know what is going to happen, what player's going to do what, who's going to turn it on. But dangerous players for me for Everton would be Gomez and Calvert-Lewin all day long.
I like Rodriguez as well. I think he's a good player.
Yeah,
I watched the game against Spurs the other day. He dictated a little bit. He should have beat Spurs last week. It was only some poor defensive errors that cost you. But there was at some stage there, he's passing and things like that. He doesn't do it enough, if I'll be honest. When watching that game, when he does it, you think, oh, that was superb. Drifts in and out of games a little bit, but a lot of those players do. But when he's on form, he's the one that can pick the passes and things like that. And I've been impressed with him. Unfortunately, he's a little bit like Everton. He's been getting a few injuries of late, and that's curtailed his performances this season. But I think he's the one little player that can get in those little pockets, and he has the ability to hurt people. At the beginning of the season, he was sensational, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was brilliant at the start of the season. He did struggle with injuries over the winter period, definitely, and he seems to be back now for the final run in a game, so that'll be good. And because of injuries, obviously managers have chopped and changed styles all season, and I think Arteta's no stranger to that either. And I think he had maybe 5 injuries now. So, what is kind of your likely lineup going to be going into this, especially considering the injuries that you have picked up?
Well, I think Leno in goal, Holding. Pablo Mari, could be Granit Xhaka at left back again, Hector Bellerin at right back, or Callum Chambers. Will he start Partey Ceballos? Will he start El Neni? Who knows? The only thing I would nail on is the top 3, and that would be Saka, Martinelli, and Pepe. I think he can't really go with anyone else, in my opinion. What else he does then? What he does after that would be up to him. But I would like to see, Partey, Ceballos, Leno, Bellerin, Holding, Mari, and Granit Xhaka in at left back again. I think he's been doing a really good job there. Yeah,
I agree with that. I think that I think what Mikel Arteta will do this time around is play the team that's going to play on Thursday. That's what I'd imagine he would do. So that, I think Callum Chambers is going to come into that role. I think that with the height is a good thing for us there. So Holding's been doing all right. Mari, I think Mari and Holding play as a better partnership. I think if David Luiz was fit, then Gabriel would play. But I think that's the partnership they're going to go with. Granit Xhaka. Odegaard's not quite fit enough, so I think he might be on the bench for this one, just to try and give him 20 minutes at the end or something. I'm not sure. But Smith Rowe in front of Ceballos and Partey, and the 3 up front, Martinelli, Saka and Pepe. I think that's got to be the 3 for me, and that's got to be the team. And that's the team that actually I would start for the European game as well. So, but interesting to see what they do tomorrow, because what I think has helped us, this game being on a Friday, gives us nearly 6 days to before we play that semi-final, where normally we would have probably been playing this game on a Sunday. So I think that it being on a Friday has given us an extra day, or at least an extra day, to prepare for Thursday. So I think this is a good thing, it being on a Friday, and that will give Arteta hopefully the chance of playing his strongest side. He will, on the other hand, be thinking, do I want to risk certain players because I'm already losing Lacazette and I'm losing Aubameyang, and that's why he could actually go with maybe Balogun getting some sort of minutes. I don't know, so it'd be interesting to see what he does from that point of view.
Yeah, that was actually going to be my next question, actually, leading on to there for the Europa League games. Obviously, that is, it's your last crack at Champions League football this season. So, you kind of mentioned there. So, how significant do you think that'll be in this game? Probably less than, for the rest of the season, because your rotation will have to come a bit later, I think. Just looking at your fixtures there, you've got Newcastle a few days after. But how much of an impact do you think it'll have?
I think it's massive. It's the Thursday game, the 2 Thursday games are the games. You know what I mean? I'm not no disrespect to Everton and Newcastle. If we lose them or we win them, it don't really alter too much. But that semi-final is massive, you know. Not only for getting into the Champions League, that's for the money men and the owner and everything like that. What it is for the fans is a trophy, and there is a trophy up for grabs, you know. And as good as Arsenal have been over the years and whatever, our European side of it has been awful. We haven't won the European trophy since '94, which was the Cup Winners' Cup, which don't even exist no more. We've been in a couple of European finals and lost them. So our European pedigree isn't as good as what it should be. So it would be nice to put a European trophy on the ball. But it's not going to be easy, particularly with Villarreal and then, of course, Manchester United and Roma. But these two games on the Thursdays coming up, the two semi-finals are massive, massive.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure you've spoken to death about this, both of you, in the past couple of days. But obviously, we're now kind of out of the Super League. Apparently, obviously, Florentino Perez had that ridiculous interview last night saying, you know, no one's really out of it. But the English clubs have kind of, you know, signalled their intent to leave. So, I mean, just briefly, because I'm sure you've spoken about it before, what is your reaction now just coming out of all of that? And, you know, what does it mean going into these games now after the kind of ridiculous 48, 72 hours that we did have? What is your reaction now after the fallout?
Well, I think it's important I've seen people, you know, starting to attack different supporters and this, that and the other. I think it's very important to understand that it's got nothing to do with the fans, it's got nothing to do with the players, it's got nothing to do with the manager. This was sneaked up on us by Stan Kroenke, our owner. This was something that Mikel Arteta has admitted to this morning, that he knew about it minutes before it broke, so he had no time to prepare a reaction to it or anything like that. The players, the same, seem to have been in the dark about it. I think we'd be very naive to think that this was done overnight. This wasn't done overnight. This competition has been in the wings for many, many years. But the way it was done, the way it was sneaked up upon the fans of those six clubs, and it stunk. It stunk of corruption. I mean, when it first came out, I've got to be honest with you. When it first came out, I was like, oh, I'll have a look at this. 350 million for participation. Can't get relegated. Very nice, very nice. But when you sit back and you do a bit of research about it, it's just pure corruption. Pure corruption. The rich get richer. The fans get more ripped off. And the pyramid of football starts to break down. And it's not just the Premier League that will suffer. It's the Championship, League One, League Two, the National League, and right down to the grassroots. So it's a great thing that it's been cancelled. It's a good thing that everyone's dropped out of it. But I find it quite mysterious that all the six English clubs dropped out together straight away. They were the first clubs to drop out straight away. I find that quite weird. I wouldn't be surprised if there's been a few brown envelopes from UEFA put under the door to the six clubs to pull out of it. And at the end of the day, I just didn't get why. I didn't get why or how they chose the teams. Like, how am I supposed to look at you in the eye, James, right? If you finish higher than Arsenal, if you finished in the top four this year, and Everton dream of playing in the Champions League, and you dream about getting Barcelona at Goodison Park under the lights, and you dream about playing Real Madrid under the lights at Goodison Park, then all of a sudden this European Super League comes in. You get put into the Champions League, but then you're playing the lesser teams of Europe because they're the only ones that left. And here I am, an Arsenal fan who finished 11th, and I'm getting Real Madrid under the lights at the Emirates, and how is that fair? How does that work? That's not how it should be. Football should be free competition. And if you want to play at the highest level and you want to play in these competitions, then you earn it, you get there, you qualify for it. This thing of being put into a league just because you're Arsenal Football Club and you're owned by a billionaire, or Manchester City, this, that and the other. It's all wrong. It's all very wrong. But I will say something. I will say this. Like, Arsenal fans or the Arsenal team or the Arsenal hierarchy are taking a bit of stick from other fans. Like, I've seen Aston Villa fans standing outside Villa Park this morning with a banner saying, "We won't forget. We won't forget." Let's have it right, James. If Aston Villa's bored and you're bored, were approached, you'd be in it as well. You would have been in it as well. If
I
you're
wouldn't be
bored,
so certain about that.
I don't know, mate. If Mr. Perez come along to Everton, you've just built a brand new stadium, right? You're building a brand new stadium. You're going to need all the money you can get, and you'll take it from any source. So if he comes along and says, "Oh, I like your new stadium. Would you like to come and join our Super League? I'll give you 350 million if you come and play in it." Your board are going to go, "No problem. When do you want us to start?" So I think it's a bit hypocritical of other clubs to say, "Oh, we won't forget. You tried to do this. You tried to do that. You tried to leave us in the mud." Like that's not that's irrelevant to me, because any club that would be invited into that European Super League would have jumped at the chance to be in it.
That's fair enough. I mean, I can't see how Everton would have joined. I mean, our owner's already come out. He said on TalkSport that they never would have joined. It's not really in the DNA of the club.
Yeah,
either,
but it's all here. Yeah, it's very easy to say that he wouldn't have joined. Now he's seen the reaction. If they had come to Everton behind closed doors and said we're making this European Super League like they did to Arsenal, Manchester City, Chelsea, Liverpool, yada yada. If it was all done behind closed doors, I could nearly guarantee you that any board in the Premier League would have jumped at the chance to be part of it.
The fact is, Arsenal couldn't say no, nor could Tottenham.
No one could say no, Lee. I don't believe that any club in the Premier League would have said no.
I agree. I think if Everton would have been asked to go in it, they would have said yes. The fact of the matter is, let's get this straight. You know, Arsenal were in the Premier League and in the first division back in the day because they bought their way into it. You know what I mean? Tottenham come above Arsenal that year, but Arsenal paid a fee and got into the Division 1. It's been going on for years. But what is I think was the tipping point. Yeah, Leeds, Everton would have protested and whatever, but it was the fans of the six that were in it protested as well. You know what I mean? Like, because we as fans realise that it's not right. It's corrupt. It's not right. You know, now. Let's be honest about this. You know, these clubs went into the Premier League with virtually a guarantee they're never going to get relegated. You know, I mean, Manchester United never going to get relegated. Arsenal never going to get relegated. Tottenham never going to get relegated. But the ultimate thing is, the six don't go into four, so they couldn't guarantee the Champions League money. So that's all what it's to do with. It's pure utter greed of money. You know what I mean? Now. What gives, and then this is the other thing, is what gives the right for Tottenham to be in it over a team like Everton? Because Everton, going back in the day, were let's talk about Everton because it's Everton. Everton in the 80s were denied Europe because of what was gone on when they was the best team in Europe. So they would have gone on and won maybe. You can't guarantee it, but they was that good. You know, they probably could have gone and won the European Cup. They went and won the Cup Winners' Cup the year before. Before they got banned, they would have probably gone on and won the European Cup. They won the league twice in 3 years. Very, very good side, and would have had a history that you know, better than Arsenal as far as Europe was concerned. But you know, Aston Villa, you know, you're telling me they're not a big club. They've won a European trophy. So Leeds are a massive club. They've won the league before Tottenham. You know what I mean? So, or, you know, like since in my lifetime, I think Leeds were the last team to win the old First Division, weren't they, before it went to the Premier League? So there's no criteria for really other than like how big the fans are. And yes, of course, Everton would have said yes. They would have gone into it like anybody else. But ultimately. They didn't realise the reaction it was going to be like, you know what I mean? Look, listen, and it's fantastic that there was a reaction. Now, it's not all about the fans. You know, let's not kid ourselves. It's the players' power as well. It helped. But let's you know, not go too overboard about the six. You know what I mean? Like, the whole thing's corrupt. UEFA are corrupt with money side of it, like, you know, and also the Premier League, you know what I mean? Like, they give as much airtime to Gary Neville as they possibly could. But when they were charging £15 to watch a game about 3 months ago, I didn't see Gary Neville coming out and saying, "Oh, this is not fair on the fans. This is not fair on the," you know what I mean? So even though he was fantastic what he was saying, Sky were protecting their own interests, which was money, money, money. unfortunately, football now is about money. And if it wasn't about money, Everton wouldn't be getting a new stadium. Arsenal wouldn't have got a new stadium. Tottenham wouldn't be in their stadium. And all like the history of football clubs changing. And I can tell you this now. You Everton fans have been really looking forward to going to your new stadium. It's never going to be as good as Goodison Park. Never ever is going to be like.
We can guarantee you that.
I mean, never ever. Because the whole atmosphere and ethos of the whole thing will change, because you will get the tourist fans coming in that are going to visit Liverpool for the weekend, and we're taking the Everton game as well, or we're taking the Arsenal game when they've been to the theatre the night before. These things are going to happen, and football's changing. I don't care what anybody says, football's changing, whether it's for the good or for the bad. It is. These money people are in there now, and it's going to be hard to get rid of. And that is why, look, listen, I get what, fans are saying and all that, but if you're saying, look, I'm guaranteeing you like a billion, I don't know, like 300 million for the next 22 years, there's no way a club could turn that down.
Okay, so we'll round it off there. Thanks. We're just about out of time, but thanks, lads, for coming on, and thank you very much for watching.
Pleasure.
Be sure to leave a comment down below. Anything we've discussed about today, check out obviously the lads on social media. And well, I'm hoping for a good Everton result. It seems it's more important to us in the league than it is to you lads, obviously, with your European.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, you're challenging Spurs for that, so like, good luck to you. If you beat, this is the good thing about it at the moment. If you do beat us, we've got the consolation that you go above Spurs, so or get nearer to them. So it's a win-win for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you very much for watching, and join us next time on the Toffee Blues.